Thanks so much for taking the time. If you don't mind, tell everybody what's your role at BizWorld and how did you even get involved with BizWorld in the first place?
Great question. So, my role is director of education,
Mm.
and I actually worked as a consultant with BizWorld for a little while before I officially came on as director of education. I had developed a startup, a curriculum, basically entrepreneurship curriculum. It was called EQ Tech. So we were highlighting that, seeing if it was interesting to BizWorld. And so it was a positive experience. And I basically was asked to join the team full
Yeah.
time, and I've loved it ever since. It's been great.
Wonderful. So you are already in entrepreneurship education, developing your own curriculum, and then BizWorld liked it so much that they tried to steal you and successfully brought you onto the
Yes,
team.
they were successful.
That's so wonderful. So I'm always curious, in your own words, what's the simplest way that you would explain BizWorld to an educator out there that might be listening?
Wonderful. I would say it's a project based learning curriculum, which I think resonates with teachers. And of course, that the BizRoll program that they engage in, whichever one they end up picking, ends up taking students right from the beginning of starting up, figuring out what the name of your business is, thinking about what product or service you're going to be devising in terms of meeting a specific problem or need, whether it's in the community or out there. So, addressing a real problem and then takes them through basically all of the stages to the final culmination of selling your service, selling your product. And so, learning along the way, of course, all those technical skills related to it, be it marketing, obviously design, of course, the budgeting and financing, right? There's money involved. So thinking about that along the way. And most importantly, those key entrepreneurial skills of persistence, resilience, growth mindset, motivation, goal setting, all that good stuff, teamwork, right? Along the way that are not just going to be helpful for being young entrepreneurs, but really just impactful in life in general.
So it sounds like BizWorld's programs, right? There's multiple different curriculums programs inside of
Yes.
BizWorld. It sounds like the programs, they're not just meant for entrepreneurs or for students that want to become entrepreneurs.
Yes. Great question. Thank you for that. So, yes, for a lot of the programs are geared towards teachers in the classroom, right? Basically, for the teachers to facilitate the programming with their students and take them through that entrepreneurial journey. Again, depending on which program they end up picking. We also have additional offerings that are geared toward perhaps older students, like the Yes program. You can see my logo up there in the top. And we have another new program coming around soon, Compass, which is also more of an individual learner type of engagement, but can also be implemented within the formal classroom or informally.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. And earlier you mentioned how through this entrepreneurship education, students are learning about confidence, teamwork, growth mindset. It's truly learning durable life skills through entrepreneurship education.
Yes, exactly. And I honestly feel that entrepreneurship education is one of the best avenues for that, just because of the journey of an entrepreneur, right? And everything that you need to learn to go through that experience, including setbacks and how do you handle that failure, but not looking at it as anything negative at all. It's information. Like, let's be grateful for that information and move on, gives us an opportunity to improve. And so these skills are just invaluable for everyone, honestly. And I'm so excited to be able to provide it for young people and yeah, and teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. It is honestly such a valuable skill set for everybody to learn. One thing that I think about or I wonder is before educators start teaching a BizWorld program, what are maybe in your mind some of their worries or concerns before starting? And then after actually getting going, what would they say then? What's their opinions then?
I think for any teacher, it may just be this is a new program. I got to think about how I'm going to make this work and adapt it for my students. Of course, the time, right, of taking on a new program. Teachers are amazing heroes and warriors out there. They have their individual kind of strategies, tools, and skills that they have acquired along their journey. So I think it'd probably be more like, okay, how am I going to have this fit within what I do and how I love to teach? And of course, my students.
Okay, so if they're concerned a little bit about how is it going to fit into how they teach, and of course they're concerned about how it's going to impact their students, what would you tell to an educator like that has those concerns?
I would say that the BizWorld programming is pretty flexible
Mhm.
and you can implement it right throughout a semester with your students, but it's flexible in how it's developed. And we also really encourage teachers to have fun with it, right? To embody and take on that entrepreneurial spirit themselves. Like, how can I use this and adapt this to make it fun for me or extra fun, right? And just really hit home with my students. We highly encourage that and want teachers to do that. And we want them to share those success stories back with us as well. And of course, we're here to support them as well. Whenever they have questions or concerns, we're always here to help and just be there to support them in the best way that we can.
The flexibility piece was pretty surprising to me that truly like educators can make the program their own while also they are getting a totally like ready done for you curriculum, and
Yes.
so it's not making more work for them. It's absolutely a, I was about to say a business in a box, but a
Yes, it
curriculum in a
is.
box.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, yeah, they don't have to create anything new unless they would like to. And they can,
Mm,
of course, adapt what we already provide in ways that they would like as well.
yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you think surprises teachers when they are actually in BizWorld, when they're running a BizWorld program in a classroom?
Say probably how much they enjoy it and how much fun it ends up being. I am a firm believer that learning should be fun. I have
Mm,
always believed that, and I will probably believe that until I stop teaching myself. Probably actually after that too. Definitely believe learning should be fun. And I know that teachers just see that within the students, like how engaged they are, how much they enjoy it, just how much fun they're having working together. And I do also know that they see students just embodying a lot of these skills that they may not necessarily have seen them embody before. And
mm,
it's because the curriculum affords that, right? It allows them to go through that experience where they have to, let's say, try out what it's like to be a CEO and just all these things that they wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to try out as part
mm.
of perhaps regular curriculum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We have some really great stories from educators on our YouTube channel, even where they're
Yeah.
sharing that students come back and say, like years later, oh, BizWorld was my favorite program. I still remember doing it in your classroom. Or
Yeah.
stories where somebody is a student is really shy and quiet, but through BizWorld, they're actually learning to find like their own voice and to speak
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's a lot of times students don't have those opportunities. And I think that's one of it's part of the mission of this world, right? It's being able
Mm,
to provide those opportunities for students where they get to see what it's like to be an entrepreneur and go through that process and acquire those skills. And unless you have that experience, you may not necessarily get it, right?
mm,
And like you're saying, there's so many of our students from the past who have reap the benefits of being exposed to those types of skills and the mindset and thinking like an entrepreneur early on in their life.
It's truly life changing.
Yeah.
I'm I'm curious. I'm trying to get a little bit into the mind of educators and how we can maybe serve them better.
Yes.
What do you think is one classroom the teachers are dealing with now more than ever?
Oh, that's a great question. I would honestly say there's probably a couple, but I would say one is obviously AI. It's okay, how am I going to integrate this within my classroom? That's something that we have to do. And we
Mhm.
actually are part of our development. We continuously update and revamp and provide additional resources to the BizWorld programming that's already out there. Part of that is addressing that. Whether it's just, hey, here are some cool AI tools that you could consider implementing and just trying out within your classroom, but also ways to perhaps write a prompt or here is a specific activity that you could implement it in this way. So I would say that's one. I would say other ones may be or at least from what I've heard, is if you have a classroom of students that maybe have different levels in terms of their skills and understanding, being able to differentiate the teaching process, differentiate curriculum. I know that's something that it takes a lot of thought, right, into doing
Mhm.
that. You have to be very thoughtful. And I feel like the BizWorld curriculum really affords that as well, because we have for the BizWorld Plus coming up, there are like different level ups kind of in terms of how you can share and implement those different types of activities with your students. So that's helpful.
Thanks. Yeah, super. Yeah, in the age of AI now, man, that is a huge challenge for
Yeah.
educators. So I love that
Yeah.
this world is addressing that. But then also this idea that different classrooms are at different skill levels, right? Even different individual students inside of one big
Exactly.
classroom. And
Yeah.
it's also really great to hear that's being directly addressed, right? That there are options, different
Mhm.
pathways that you can steer the BizWorld programming, BizWorld Plus specifically, so it
Mhm.
can meet the needs of your individual students.
Exactly. And project
Yeah.
based learning is also very well suited for that because you
Mm,
can create groups of students with based on their skill levels, their interests, and then you can very purposefully put them together, right? And that's how you end up having all students, in a sense, being experts in various things. And then they're helping each other, supporting each other, challenging each other. And that's when you see those like wonderful learning engagement and just those types of things blossom, right? Because students love to work with each other and when they feel like they all can be helpful, right? And they all are like an expert in something that they can contribute to the overall team, it's very powerful.
super, super. In that, how do I put this? In the school system today, there's a thing that they refer to as student led programming or a student led curriculum. What is that and how does it relate to BizWorld?
I would say again, this is where project based learning kind of fits in, but it has to do with students setting their own goals. It also has to do with students, again, based on their skill level and their interests, right? Kind of
Mm,
taking that as a starting point and facilitating a learning experience for them based on that. Project based learning is perfect for that, right? Because it's all about appealing to students' interests, again, matching them in groups based on their expertise and their experience. So it really helps to facilitate that.
wonderful. Yeah, that's a concept that's tough for me to understand, even from my experience in the school system. That how can a project or something in the syllabus be student led? It sounds almost
Right.
like a dream for an educator to be able
Right.
to just kind of walk around and watch and see and the students work towards a common goal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's based so project-based learning is based in constructivism or constructivist theory, where it's like we all
Mm,
can create, co-create together, right? And so we can do that, right? By putting together our various interests and various skills, right? And along the way, that's why there's no experience that's going to be exactly the same, right? And educators say that all the time, right? I implemented BizWorld programming one semester and the next, and it was a completely different experience because you have a bunch of different students with various experiences and interests in their life. You have different teams. I would say every time you implement BizWorld, it's a new and exciting and fun experience. So you're going to be, as an educator, learning something new every time as well.
That's wonderful. So it's not just the same thing you're teaching over and over again. It doesn't get boring. You're getting to learn new things as well.
Yeah, you
Wow,
learn with the
that's great.
students. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm.
Educators and teachers are some of the hardest working professions that there. Like their time is so thin.
Yeah.
How does BizWorld actually help teachers to not add more work to their plates than they already have?
That's a great question. So I would say again, going back to that curriculum in a box, right? The BizWorld curriculum is ready to go. It's flip the switch, right? And you're going to have all of the materials. We also provide training, right? So to help with the implementation. And again, our team may be small, but it's a mighty team. And we are always here to help if there's any type of questions.
BizWorld's theme for the year, right, is dream big and dare to fail.
Yes.
It's
I think
so
that's probably, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying it's so exciting. I think it's a great
Yeah.
overall. It's the theme, right? Like, where did that come from? What made you all decide on that?
Oh, that's a good question. We may have to ask the team that one. I don't know exactly where
Yeah.
it originated, to be honest. We work ourselves as like a project-based team. So a lot of times these things come together as part of an organic
Mm.
process. I would say though that I absolutely love it. Not only does it resonate with being an entrepreneur, but just, thinking about students, kids, we come into this world so incredibly curious, wondering about everything, and our imaginations are just limitless. And so, just this idea of dreaming, it's so important. And I love that that's part of course, our kind of tagline of the year, but also that is something that underlies all of our programming and our mission, right? It's this idea of capitalizing on the fact that young people, young kids, we all as humans, right? We have this tremendous capacity to dream, to be curious, to just imagine the most amazing things. And we want to make sure that we keep that alive, right? That ability to dream while at the same time not being afraid to take chances, right? Just think of a 1 year old walking around trying to learn how to walk, right? They walk a couple of steps, fall down, get up, walk a little bit more, fall down, and they keep doing that. They are dreaming and daring to fail, right? If they didn't do that, they would probably stop and may not learn how to walk, right? So we all have that as humans, which is amazing. And it's, in my opinion, one of the most invaluable skills and mindsets that we have.
Absolutely. Yes. The dream big and the dare to fail piece
Yeah.
is truly my favorite.
Yeah.
When I think about a lot of classrooms, why is it that there's so many students that are afraid to speak up, that are afraid to be wrong or to fail?
I think it has a little bit to do, and of course, like I can have debates on this, and people might disagree with me. There's this concept called mastery versus performance orientation, which is a
Mm,
motivational construct. And it's about if you're mastery oriented, you're focusing on mastering things. You're interested. You want to do something because you love to learn and you want to just keep at it, right? You want to
mm,
keep dreaming and daring to fail. Okay. Performance orientation is about basically accomplishing, right? So it's
mm,
about, let's say, getting the A or trying to get this perfect and unfortunately, because of how the school system works, where you have standards and students are graded, they end up learning that if I don't perform a certain way, I may not get a certain grade. And then there's so much pressure and so much at stake based on the grades that you end up obtaining. So to me, that makes sense. If you try something, right? Because everyone would have dreamed and dared to fail at one point. But if you then realize, oh, when I fail, I didn't get the grade that I wanted on an assignment. And now maybe I can't pick the class I want for next semester or other types of consequences that come from that. It seems natural to me then that you would stop taking risks
Yeah.
and be afraid
Yeah.
of failing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And so then in a BizWorld classroom, what does failure look like?
It's information, right? It's
Mm.
information that you can use to improve, right? So let's say you try to get some information about a service or a product that you're developing, and maybe you're getting feedback that you weren't expecting, right? Maybe your customer or client is like, "Mm, I don't know." But that's invaluable, right? Because that gives you the opportunity to take that in, make the change, turn it around, and try again.
It's information. Yeah, it's not failure, right?
It's
You
not,
learn.
it's
That's
information for improvement. Yeah.
information for improvement. That's great. Isha, looking ahead at 2026, what's new, exciting, what's upcoming next at BizWorld?
Awesome. Definitely focus on durable skills. We've talked about, right, how much we love them and how important they are. These are skills that just keep coming up, especially with AI, just the importance of ethical intelligence, emotional awareness, social awareness. A lot of durable skills are very important to be able to not only implement AI, but also understand, right? What it is that we're doing, perhaps decisions we're making when we're using AI, and to implement it in a way that we know is ethically correct, that would be good for humanity, right? That's important. So we are going to be focusing a lot on these durable skills that, of course, are the foundational to entrepreneurship, but also so essential for using AI. And we will also be integrating more AI as part of the curriculum and just again, like resources, tools that we may come across. We want to share those with our wider BizWorld community of teachers so they can have an opportunity to try those out and see how they work for them and in the classroom. So those are going to be some key pieces. And then, of course, Compass, as I mentioned before, which is it's a self-directed learning, really. So going back to the student-led learning, it's developed with flexibility in mind so that any young person can really sign up if they're interested and thinking about how can they make their dreams reality, right? And refine their ideas. But again, like I said, it's also something that can be implemented as part of the formal classroom or informal classroom because it's developed with that flexibility. But what's cool about it, it's like a hybrid of YouTube and interactive learning, right? Kind of trying to fit within that sweet spot of what is exciting for young learners these days. Yeah, that's at least what comes to mind right now. There are many
Yeah,
things going on.
of
Yeah.
course. There's
Oh, and a
so
hackathon. I didn't even mention that. We have a hackathon coming up. Super exciting.
There's so much going on. Not even to
Yeah.
mention that BizWorld Plus, the next evolution of the classic BizWorld Pro program, is
Yes.
also officially being released and starting to be
Yes.
implemented. And it's just an updated, upgraded version. Still the same base, right?
Yes.
Teaching, learning, but
Yes.
so much exciting stuff going on in BizWorld.
Yes, and for teachers out there already, right, who are implementing BizWorld Pro, just keeping that in mind, right? The foundational content and curriculum is the same, but it's leveled up with these levels and additional resources that they can implement to just have fun and adapt with their students.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time for sharing with us. Everybody should go over to BizWorld.org and go learn about all the programs. World Plus is front and center. And then depending on when you're seeing this, Compass is going to be released soon.